Over the last 4 years, I've worked with over 128 freelancers, helping them land clients through various outreach methods. And after years of testing cold email scripts, constantly tweaking and making iterations, today I will finally show you what works specifically so you can start landing high-ticket clients for yourself. Just like our recent success story, Nadia, who went from struggling to get clients to making $50,000 in just 4 months by working with us. So the 4 main things that we're going to be covering in this video are, number 1, the common mistakes people make with cold emails. Number 2, we're going to cover the 2 types of cold emails that you can send. Number 3 is going to be the frameworks for these cold emails to actually make them work. And number 4, I will actually show you examples of the best performing ones. Okay, so I broke the vaults and I took some of the scripts from my clients with their permission, of course, and I'm showing you the best performing ones. Okay. And by the way, in the meantime, if you want to check out our website at freelanceclients.com, you can click here on this link, or you can just Google freelanceclients.com and it should pop up as the first thing. Okay, now without anything further ado, let's get right into the video. Number 1, I want us to go first over the common mistakes that are killing your cold email results. Let's start with the mistakes most copywriters make that guarantee their emails will get ignored. And number 1 is generic templates that scream cold email. Okay, if I go to my email inbox right now and I go to junk, all of these here are cold emails, right? You can see how many of them I'm receiving every single day, right? And I don't respond to these cold emails because they're just like that. They don't make any sense, right? Like they're screaming cold email that doesn't really actually care about my business, right? And that's what happens when you don't have any personalization beyond the company name, right? And you can easily use AI these days to create amazing personalization lines if you just feed it enough data. The days of you scrolling through a website for 30 minutes to find some personalization are gone, right? Because you can literally use AI to make it work for you. Mistake number 2 that screams cold email is talking about yourself in the first paragraph. It's always better to address an issue or concern they might have in the beginning to get a good hook, because you have to think about it logically. When someone opens a cold email, you have about 5 seconds to get their attention and to get them to keep reading, basically. Are they going to keep reading if they read, "My name is Dennis and I'm an amazing copywriter and I can do this, this, and that"? Or are they going to read if they hear, "Hey, do you know this problem you've been struggling with for the last 6 months?" I'm going to let you answer this question, right? But that's pretty much it. So you need to stop talking about yourself in the first paragraph and you need to start addressing their pains and their desires, basically. And then issue number 3 is that the emails are very broad. There is a reason why restaurants offering 10 types of cuisine are average, and you're usually not going to get the best food in town when you go there, while the ones specializing in maybe Italian, sushi, Korean places, right? They're all specializing in one style. They're successful. You need to make the same approach with your email, right? When you do cold emails, again, make sure they're personalized, not only in terms of, "Oh, I saw that on your website and I loved it," but make sure it speaks specifically to the audience in that niche and market, okay? Decision makers like myself can spot these from miles away, right? Because you have to zoom out and realize that these people, like, they're being pitched tens of times per month, and this is real proof right here, right? It's real proof. Okay, so first things, again, if we look at this, right? If we look at a cold email, build a healthier office together. First of all, I don't even have an office. And then secondly, in today's fast-paced corporate world, the workplace isn't just where we work, it's where we live, create, connect, blah, 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 right? 0. I don't care, right? I'm going to move on with my day and not going to read that stuff. So that's the thing the things you have to avoid, okay? The second big mistake is making it all about you, which means listing all your services and capabilities, doing things like, "Hey, no, let's talk. I can do emails, blogs, newsletters. What else can I do? I can do ads. I can do white papers. I can do, right, these types of stuff." And literally just talking about yourself. That's not going to work, okay? They do not care about you, but they care about what you can do for them, right? Because everyone is going to want something from a relationship with you, and you need to keep that in mind, okay? And this graphic right here, this is huge. I show this in a lot of my videos, but I really want to make a point on it, right? The customer has a current state and they have a desire. Maybe it's more money, Maybe it's to land more speaking events. Maybe it's to increase their awareness. Like a bunch of different things, right? So the biggest problem is that you are trying to make copywriting your offer, right? Copywriting is what will get them from A to B, right? Let's say you work with someone that has like a marketing campaign with Facebook ads and it's not profitable, and they're looking to make it profitable, and your copy, by restructuring their ads, their landing pages, their follow-up sequence and everything, is going to get them the results they desire. So then you just go on and you present yourself like, oh, let me write your ads. I'm an amazing copywriter. I can write your ads. I can write your landing page, blah, 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 right? No, copywriting is just a delivery mechanism, okay? And your offer should be focused around what the customer desires, which is finally having a profitable Facebook ads campaign after so much money invested without getting any results, right? So the moment you start pitching this instead of this, that is when you win, okay? And then mistake number 3 is genuinely just having a rubbish offer, right? Like pitching generic services that do not solve any specific problems, aka I write compelling words that sell, right? And it's the same exact offer as the rest of the market. And here's a little analogy for you so you can better understand this. Imagine you're at a farmer's market where every stall is selling apples. Every vendor claims their apples are the best, freshest, like organic, grown by a family in the woods, and whatever type, like whatever selling points these people have, right? And as a shopper, you will likely feel overwhelmed by the similarity in offerings and may choose based on convenience or price. You may compare the apples, you may want to look at more, you may want to taste some of them, rather than any particular vendor's unique appeal. Now imagine one vendor stands out because they offer something different, right? They know maybe because you're walking through that market and you're looking at so many things, you might get thirsty. So they use their apples to make a cider, right? Or fresh apple cider or apple juice, or they even make donuts, right, from the apples or whatever, or a unique variety of apple that no one else has. That's how you're going to stand out, right? And the third component of a rubbish offer is leading with price-focused offers instead of value-focused offers. Like, yeah, I charge $200 per email. Okay, fine. But I don't really care about that. Like, what can that email do for me? Can it solve my problem? Can it sell more of my product? Can it help me increase profit margin? Can it help me tap into a pocket of revenue that I didn't have so far, right? Can it do any of that stuff? And if it can, great. If not, then I'm not going to buy it, right? So understanding these things is crucial, right? Number 4, weak or non-existing follow-up. Giving up after 3 emails is not enough, right? Like writing 3 emails, that's not enough. And giving up after 3 emails is definitely not the way to go about following up. But also sending like just checking in, bumping this up, hope you saw this type of follow-ups, again, they're not going to work regardless if you're sending like 10, 15, 20, or just 3, right? And not adding value in each follow-up, because the money is in the follow-ups. Like most of your prospects, especially with cold emails, they will respond to a follow-up, not the initial message. So if we can add value with those follow-ups, that's when we win the game. And the number 5 is asking for too much too soon. Requesting a 30-minute Zoom call in your first email it can work, but it's requesting like something very valuable in today's time, day and age, when people are busier and busier, especially business owners, and you're requesting 30 minutes of their time without giving them any value up front, right? What I suggest doing is you try to pitch a 5-minute phone call instead, and that's so underrated these days, yet it's coming back to life. Just literally be like, hey, look, this is my offer. Insert cold email script, right? And then at the end, when you do the call to action, you want to be like, you know what? If you're interested, just send me your phone number and a couple of times, and I'm going to give you a 5-minute phone call to see if this would work for you in the first place, as I don't want to waste your time, right? It's so easy to do that these days, and it's still going to get you a conversation. It's still going to get you a lead. And if that person is qualified over the phone, then it makes sense for you to book them into a longer Zoom call, right? again, like in terms of the thing we're covering right now, which is asking for too much too soon, jumping straight to pricing discussions and sharing rates instead of talking about their problems is not going to get you anywhere. But if you jump on that 5-minute phone call and they ask you like, okay, so what can you do? And then you're like, oh, I charge $200 a blog and $300 an email, and we can write these types of assets that are going to get you these types of results. They're not going to buy into it, right? And it falls into the same thing as this right here, which is trying to sell your services before building rapport. Okay, if you combine this with this, if you try to sell your services before building rapport, and you jump straight into pricing and you ask for stuff without giving any value first, you are doomed to fail. Okay, so 2 key things to learn. Obviously, besides avoiding these 5 mistakes here, you need to make the reply in the initial email as simple as possible for the person to reply. And you need to make the process to move on to the next step as frictionless as possible. Okay, and asking for a phone number in a couple of times is the most frictionless way we've seen. All right. So now, with that being said, and now that we cover like what common mistakes are killing cold emails, let's go into the 2 types of cold emails that actually work. So depending on your level of expertise, where you're at with your copywriting or freelancing career, you might want to use either of these 2 approaches that are working for us and our clients. Approach number 1 is the case study / authority approach. Okay, what this is basically is it's a framework that leads with a relevant result you achieved for a similar business. It makes it easy to see how their business could get similar results, and you need to be specific about numbers and timeframes, and you need to include a clear, low friction next step, such as the 5-minute phone call. Okay, and we're going to go over the frameworks and examples for these as well soon. But I just want to explain what the types of approach, like what these approaches actually are. Okay, so approach number 1, this right here, as I said, it's basically if you are a freelance copywriter and you have worked with clients, you have results to show, this right here is the easiest possible way to get results with cold outreach. Now, for those of you who don't have results or case studies, right, we can use the desire approach. This is more research based, right? Because now, instead of us leveraging something we have already, we need to find that desire in the market and pitch it to business owners. And with this approach, we need to lead with a specific, valuable insight about their business. We need to demonstrate our expertise through the quality of our observations. Okay, because now we cannot demonstrate our expertise through what we've done. We need to at least show them that the quality of what we've researched is actually rock solid. Okay, and you need to say what you can get them based on what the market wants. Okay, so if you know that, let's say, mental health companies, they're looking to like work with more patients and reduce a specific number of cases for a specific disease or anything like that, then that's what we need to approach them with. Okay, and the desire approach usually works with focusing on starting a conversation and not selling something from the first message. Based on which type of freelancer you are, whether you have case studies and results already, or you are a beginner who doesn't have any, you can choose your approach accordingly and move on from here. Okay, now let's break down the exact frameworks that make these approaches work. Well, number 1, for the case study framework, the subject lines that we've seen work best are name, quick question, or name, thoughts. Literally like this, with lowercase everything, so it makes it seem more personal, more like a friend would send that email, and that's pretty much it, right? The email structure is very simple. We have a relevant result opener, okay? So we want to lead with a specific result achieved for a similar client, like, hey, Nain, I've worked with this other B2B tech giant and helped them achieve X, Y, and Z, right? We need to make it clearly relevant to their business, right? You cannot pitch them with the case study approach if you're targeting crypto companies and your case study is in fitness, right? Doesn't make any sense. So it needs to be relevant to their business. And the most important thing, it needs to include specific numbers and specific time frames. Okay, otherwise it's not going to work that well. After we introduce the relevant result and we break through the barrier, we are now an authority. Those people know who we worked with and so on. We introduce a problem solution bridge. We want to briefly describe the problem the other company had before working with us, highlight how it's similar to what you've observed in their business, and then transition into how you solve it. Okay. And now, after you make them aware of the problem and solution, you want to use your specific methodology by touching on your approach without getting too technical and focusing on 1 to 2 key elements that made the difference, and show them that it's repeatable and it's not just luck, and your approach will work for them too. And lastly, we have the low friction call to action, which is offering something small and valuable as the next step, such as the 5-minute phone call. You want to make it easy for them to say yes, and you want to frame it as you're helping them, not selling them, right? So instead of being like, let's have a 5-minute call to discuss about my services, you can be like, hey, I want to figure out if what I did for that person could work for you as well. Let's have a 5-minute conversation to figure out whether it's going to work or not, right? And you want to keep everything as concise and short as possible. I know this right here is like a bigger list. This is just me going in depth really, but it doesn't need to be like 1,500 characters, right? It can be short and concise and it's still going to work, but just make sure you include these 4 things in here, okay? Now with the desired framework, with the subject lines, I would honestly just keep them the same because we've seen these subject lines work super well. So I don't feel like we need to change them based on the approach. It's just a subject line. I mean, the purpose of it is to get people to open the email, right? Now, the email structure for this is very simple. Now, the first thing, now instead of doing the relevant result opener where we showcase our authority, is doing a personalized opener where we reference something specific from their website or content. We show them that we've actually done our research, and we make it impossible for them to mistake for a template, okay? Because if people think you sent them a template, they're not going to read whatever you sent them, right? After we open that conversation, we've built a trust now based on the quality of our research instead of the results we've achieved. We follow up with a value-based insight. We want to share a specific observation about their business. We want to focus on an opportunity or issue they might not be aware of. And we want to connect it to potential business impact, right? Like, hey, I went on your website and I noticed that X, Y, and Z. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but based on this article from Entrepreneur, not solving that can cause ABC problem, right? And then we need a credibility builder. You want to briefly mention whatever relevant experience you have without bragging, right? So even if you just work with a couple of clients, maybe your experience is like working as a full-time employee in that industry, right? You just want to mention whatever experience you have here to get some leverage. And you want to make it relevant to the insight you just shared. And you also want to mention how a similar business changed or fixed this to achieve a specific result, if you know it, right? This right here is more optional because if you don't know a business or someone that implemented that insight, then of course there's nothing you can do about it. But if you have it, this is a very good place to put it, okay? And then lastly, we have a conversation starter. So we want to ask a simple question that's easy to answer and make it about their business and not your services, and aim for a response, not a meeting, okay? Again, keep everything concise and short, and don't make it like 3,000 characters, and it is going to work, all right? So now that we've gone through the 2 types of cold emails that actually work, I also want to show you some best performing examples right from my clients, and I'm also going to show you the results. So stick around to see and get some inspiration, okay? From just out of respect for me sharing this, please just do not copy paste these messages here thinking you're going to land clients, okay? Take inspiration from them, but copy pasting is not going to work and it's not a good ethic, okay? So the first example is for the case study approach, and we've done this for a client writing thought leadership articles. The subject was thoughts, name, and then the body was the following. Hi Mark, I came across Sneaker Max and saw you're getting great traction with your limited edition drops. By the way, just for obviously like due diligence, I didn't include the real names of the potential clients the clients would reach out to, or like the clients they work with. So I added some common names here, but you get the point, right? You just need to replace the names with your actual clients. So yeah, recently I worked with New Balance and figured out a way to get a 4x higher customer retention and drive 30% plus of extra revenue just by having a couple of automated emails set up. I basically do this through done-for-you optimized email flows that are specifically made for fashion/streetwear e-com brands. It's a set and forget kind of thing, and once I build it out, you don't need me anymore or to manage it yourself. If your list has 5,000 plus subscribers, there's likely untapped revenue sitting in your inbox. Worth a quick chat to see what's possible for Sneaker Max. And this is where we can even go fancier with the call to action and be like, worth a quick 5-minute phone call to see what's possible for Sneaker Max, or just shoot over your phone number and I'm going to give you a call and explain some ideas I had in mind for Sneaker Max, right? The results for this template, amazing. Out of 1,744 emails sent, we had 158 replies, 35 positive ones, and 15 booked appointments with ecom brands, right? So this is the example. Now, the example for the desired approach was for a book ghostwriter, okay? So I wanted to kind of diversify and show you 2 different types of services that we use with these examples, so it makes sense, okay? The desired approach. Again, same thing, just edited the names out of respect for my clients. Company name, ex Amazon bestseller. Again, this one was like more specific to ghostwriting. It's not one of the examples I showed earlier because we did the research and most people obviously want an Amazon bestseller when they write a book. So this is why we have the subject line like this. Hi Alex, I saw Launchwave's recent feature on Medium and loved how you're using AI-driven logistics to cut fulfillment costs. You've built something game-changing, but most founders don't realize how much a book can solidify their industry authority and attract more opportunities. 72% of tech founders with published books see increased media exposure, and companies with strong thought leadership content grow 2 times faster. Yet most never get around to writing because scaling a startup is already demanding enough. I specialize in helping busy founders like you turn their expertise into Amazon bestseller books that open doors to investors, speaking gigs, and press without you writing a single word. Curious, have you thought about leveraging your insights in a book funnel launch to fuel Launchwave's growth? Would love to hear your thoughts. Best, James. Right. So as you can see, we're following the step-by-step framework here in the Desire framework, and this is what works, right? This message got us 22 appointments out of 1,742 emails sent. Reply rate, amazing, 300 responses out of 1.7k messages sent. And yeah, that's just how it works, right? Because we have every single component from the framework in there. Now, some key elements that made these 2 messages specifically work. Number 1, we made specific observations about their business and we didn't include generic stuff. We had a clear value/insight in the first 2 to 3 sentences in both of these examples right here. We had subtle credibility proof without bragging, like doing this, doing this, right? This is not bragging. This is just sharing what you've done. We had a simple question that's easy to answer at the end, and we kept it short, but not too short to the point where we cannot make our case, okay? So these are the key components of these messages that made them work. Now, these frameworks and examples come directly from testing over 1,000 different cold email approaches with the real freelance copywriters, right? So we've had many campaigns coming and going, many things that didn't work, many things that worked as well. So the key is personalization, focusing on their business rather than yours, and making it easy to start a conversation, okay? Now, freelance copywriters who want to skip the learning curve and you want to have my team handle every single thing about your client acquisition, click the first link in the description and book a call with us, and we will show you how we can build a similar system to this in just a couple of weeks without you having to trial and error your way through it, okay? We have multiple success stories of freelancers who are struggling to now doing what they love full-time. All the information is on our website at freelanceclients.com. We will help you land high-ticket clients without the hustle so you can focus on what you do best, which is delivering amazing copy, okay? Now, thanks for watching. Go book a call with us, and I'll see you in the next one.